Hey guys, Paul Lynn here. Want to talk to you a little bit today about that ooky wooshy gushy stuff, that lovey-dovey little bit of romance. All right. This is about living well. This is about improving your life, and whoever you are and wherever you're from, chances are, if you're not already connected to somebody romantically, it's probably in your future, right? And if you're anything like me, it's probably going to factor in significantly to your future and your life and your plans and your happiness. All right? So, relationships, love, romance, that's what I'm talking about. And I'm going to give you an example, an idea of something. This is, call it maybe a parable, but this is something from my own perspective that I've seen in life. And this is something that if you get this and understand it, it's going to make your relationships in the future a lot better. Unfortunately, this might not be something useful to help you in your existing romantic relationship. But in the future, when you're thinking about getting into something serious and long-term, oh yeah, if you keep this in mind, it absolutely will help you find, identify, and enable yourself to have a much better, happier, more fulfilling relationship. So, we're talking about girls, because this is from my perspective, and every girl has 3 different types of guy that she is attracted to and that she spends romantic time with during the course of her life. All right? So let's think about this. The first kind of guy is the guy to whom she loses her virginity. All right? This is just a parable, so, it's a little lighthearted. Stick with me. What does this guy represent? This isn't an actual dude. This is just a type of a guy. This guy represents sexuality. He represents animal magnetism. He represents seduction. He represents the kind of guy that when he walks by, her jaw drops and she watches him go by and she's like, ah. And that guy walks up and talks to her, and whatever he says is good. It doesn't matter if he doesn't have a brain in his head. If everything he says and does and thinks is stupid, if he doesn't have any money or anything else, there's just something about him that she is just surrendered. Yes. The answer is yes. Anything you want is yes, right? And that is one type of guy that a girl will invest in over the course of her life. And it doesn't really mean that he's the actual person that takes her virginity or anything like that. But for the sake of this discussion, for the sake of this parable, we're going to call him the guy she gives her virginity to, okay? There will maybe be several different guys, hundreds of guys that a girl will meet in her life that have this same effect on her. And, most of them she probably will never know and never even talk to. They'll just pass on the street. But she'll look and just everything about this guy, the way he looks, the way his eyes are, the way he walks, whatever, she'll see him from a mile away and just, wow, okay? So that's the one type of guy. The second type of guy is the guy that she falls in love with, okay? And you think, wait, I thought she was in love with that first kind of guy. Nah, I was in love, baby. That was physical. That was animal. That was chemistry. All right? The second type of guy in a girl's life is going to be the guy that she falls in love with. This is the guy who connects with her on that emotional and spiritual level. And he's the guy that she can lay out, in a grassy field with for hours and looking up at the stars and bearing her soul and telling her all of her secrets, because he knows how to listen and he knows how to relate and he knows how to build her trust. And they'll spend hours and hours talking on the phone when they're apart. And when it's time to get off the phone, oh no, you say goodbye. Oh no, you say goodbye. Oh baby, I don't want to say goodbye. You know what? I've got a million minutes. Let's just fall asleep with the phones connected, and we can. And you're sitting here like, what the hell is that, right? That is falling in love. All right? That is that emotional, psychological, spiritual connection that two people have. We're not talking about physicality. We're not talking about sexual attractiveness anymore. That was the first guy. The second guy, this is all up here and in here, okay? The guy that she falls in love with. And again, there will be several over the course of her life. She will not necessarily be romantically involved with every single one of them. There will be those guys that a woman knows that are never more than friends. They never connect romantically, or, they never, get together or hook up or anything like that. But they'll always be friends and they'll always be great friends. And whenever she needs to talk to somebody, she'll reach out to that guy and they'll talk through it and he'll be there for her and he'll support her. And she esteems this guy, way up here, higher than everybody else. But that doesn't mean that, there's anything sexual or romantic going on there. But is there love there? I'm not talking about, romance. I'm talking about love. Yes, of course there is, right? So, that is the second kind of guy. He represents love in its simplest, purest, most emotional and psychological form. It doesn't have to be anything more than that, okay? That's the guy that she falls in love with. Then there's the third kind of guy. And we're going to call this guy the guy that she marries. Okay? The first guy was the guy that she loses her virginity to. The second guy is the guy that she falls in love with. And now here's this third guy, and this is the guy that she marries. Relationships, boys and girls, are transactional. Always. Every relationship you have ever had was transactional. What does that mean? Transaction sounds like money, sounds like buying and selling. I'm not talking about money. I'm not talking about buying and selling. I am talking about a mutually beneficial and satisfactory exchange of something. Okay? In a relationship, the man brings certain things to the table, and the woman brings certain things to the table. And those things vary depending on the relationship, the people involved, but we need things like companionship. We need things like partnership and emotional support. And some people are going to put sex high up on that list. Oh, I need a sexual, okay, whatever. And children and, support and protection. And, there are a lot of different psychological and even physiological and social needs that men and women both have, and they look to each other to fulfill those needs. Even though it's not formalized with a contract and an exchange of services, it is transactional, okay? And an intelligent woman when she's thinking about whether or not she wants to get into a long-term serious relationship with somebody or take it all the way to a marriage, she is thinking more than ever about the transactional nature of this relationship. All right? A smart woman is thinking about the future and thinking, is this guy going to be a good father? Does this guy even want children? What kind of provider is this guy going to be? Are we going to be able to put our kids into a good school? Or are they going to be going to that gangbang crack house school on the other side of town where they're going to come home addicted to something and with AIDS and shot in the head, you know? She's thinking about these things. And this third guy, the guy she marries, he represents stability, provision, protection. He's a role model. He's somebody that she can look up to, children can look up to. He's available. He's invested. He's there ready to give himself and give his time. He's ready to defend his family against whatever might threaten their health or their happiness or their well-being. He's a hard worker. He's diligent. He provides. His bills are always paid. There's always food on the table. When he goes out to buy a car, he walks past the sports cars and goes straight to the SUVs with the highest JP Morgan safety ratings because he is all about his family. All right? Do you see how an intelligent, smart woman would be thinking about these things when she's thinking about putting a ring on her finger and spending the rest of her life with this guy? I mean, love is good and attraction is good and all of that. But when we're talking about forever and the rest of our lives, we need to be smart and we need to be thinking about the future, right? Okay, so that's the third type of guy that a woman's going to be romantic with over the course of her life. Now, where are we going with all of this? Let's wrap it all up and bring it home. The more of these guys that you can be at the same time to the same woman, the happier and more fulfilling your relationship is going to be. All right? So stop and think about this. If I'm looking for the perfect woman to be in a relationship with, right? Now I'm thinking about as far as she goes, because if she's fulfilled, I'm probably going to be fulfilled, right? There's a little bit of difference in what makes her happy and what makes me happy probably, but this is a good place to start. I want a woman who looks at me as that first guy. She looks at me when I walk down the street and she's like, "Ooh, damn, he could get it." All right? I want to be that guy to her. And I also, because I'm a greedy bastard, I also want to be the guy that she falls in love with. She looks at me and says, "Whew, I like what I see." And then we start talking and she's like, damn, she's like, "I love everything this guy says. I like the way he talks to me. I trust him. I can tell him anything. When he opens his mouth, beautiful things come out." You know, and she doesn't want to get off the phone and she wants to spend all of her time with me. I want to be that guy also. And you know what's messed up? Not happy with those two things. I also want to be that stable provider and protector. I also want to be the one that she knows she can count on, she can depend on. I'm that minivan. I'm that SUV. I'm dependable and reliable and safe, and I'm a protector and a provider and a role model. And, you know, I want to be all three of those guys to the woman that I'm with. We're talking about long term here. Now, if you want to mess around with some girl for one night and you know you're nothing but a number one to her, hey, that's great. Have fun. Get with it. But when you're talking about getting into something long term and you really want it to work out, you at least want to be two of those different guys for this woman if you can't be all three. Ideally, you definitely don't want to be just one of those three guys. Chances are you're not going to have that fulfilling marriage or relationship. I know a girl who's married to a guy and all he is type 3. He's the stable provider. She's not in love with him. She's not, doesn't have that animal magnetism attraction for this guy. He's just, he treats me well. He treats our daughters well. He's a good man. He this, he that. And she could not be less fulfilled. She's not going anywhere. She's not leaving. She has no plans of divorcing the guy or anything like that. They've been together for some, 15 years or so. But she is far from fulfilled in her marriage. And she's told me as much. Sad. Now we're talking about you. Don't end up being that guy, okay? Sure, he's got a wife, he's married, that's fine and good. But you don't think when he looks at her and looks her in the eye, you don't think he sees her lack of fulfillment? You don't think that he sees that when she talks to other people in her life, she's able to connect with them on levels that she doesn't share with him? Don't be in that situation, okay? That's what I'm trying to tell you today. Look for the woman who sees you as all three of those things. And I'm talking to you, as I'm talking to a guy, because I'm, kind of talking from my perspective. But for girls, it's not much different, right? A guy doesn't really look for a woman to be a provider, and something like that, and a protector. I'm looking for a wife who can protect me. Said no real man ever. Okay? We look for different things. Stop and think about that. What are those things you're looking for? And this woman you're thinking about getting into this serious relationship with, is she all of those things to you at once? Or does she just have a nice ass? Okay? Is she somebody that is going to be good for the long term and for the future and that you can count on and trust and depend on? Or are you better off just keeping this casual and having some fun, riding it till the wheels fall off and then moving on looking for something more serious? Is she someone you can really talk to and open up to? And, she accepts you for who you are and, helps you be a better person? Or would you rather just skip the talking altogether? And is she somebody that when she walks into a room, you look at her and you're like, ooh, I'm so glad she's mine. Okay, that's the woman you're looking for. And if you're not all of those things to her, maybe you should keep looking, okay? Because when you find that woman, you're everything to her and she's everything to you, it's going to be hard for that not to work out and for that not to last. All right? That's what I've got for you today. Trying to help you get that relationship game in order, trying to prepare you for the future, trying to help you think about a good criteria, a good way to consider whether this relationship is something that's going to be fit to survive and perform in the long term. Get that relationship game squared away. That's a big old chunk of life right there. Get that squared away, and the rest of life comes a lot easier, I assure you. Hey, thanks for watching today. If you like what I'm doing, subscribe and keep getting it. Click the like button on your way out the door. It'll help other people find this so that it can help them too, all right? Thank you so much for watching. Take this to heart. I really do think it's going to help you a lot if you grasp this and apply this in your own life. Thanks again. You take care. I'll see you around.